Hello Aries, and welcome to my channel. This is going to be your January 2020 reading, or 2021 reading. I'm trying something a little new, so let me know if you like it. And I'm trying to vary the readings so that we're not having, the redundant messages about love, especially if you're not interested in that and you kind of are either happily single or happily taken. This is the reading for you, because it incorporates relationships that are outside of love relationships and things to do with, finances and decisions like that. So I won't waste too much time and we'll get started. We'll have an original pull, we'll have some clarifiers, and then we'll pull from one of the oracle decks to finish off your reading, Aries. Thank you so much. Guides, guardians, and spirit. Most High, please allow me the clear discernment to see and hear clearly what is being offered for the collective of Aries. Allow me to deliver the messages that they need to see and hear today. May the true sight be in me. May the true speech be mine. May everything that I speak come straight from the divine. Thank you in advance, guides, guardians, and ancestors. This is recent past. This is present. And this is what is coming in the future. All right. So what it looks like to me is you may have had a reconciliation with someone or had a karmic connection that seems to have come back around. This Six of Cups is here, and this is usually a card of nostalgia, but this is also a card of reconciliations. And this doesn't necessarily have to be in romance or love, but it can be friendships, but moreover what it feels like is the replaying of certain cycles over and over again. And they may have taken different shapes and forms in the past, and it seems that you're being tested once again in the present to see whether or not you've actually learned your lesson. So this is like, if you have had negative cycles in relationships or even friendships where you kind of pick someone who looks totally different, seems to act totally different, but they're actually the same exact person as the person you just got out of a toxic cycle with, that's what this card is indicating to me. So this is the recognition. Well, I am tongue-tied this evening. This is the ability to recognize that cycle clearly, where you may not have had it before, and you may have just been like, man, I'm choosing different people from all walks of life, and I can't seem to figure out why it's all ending the same and why they're the same person. And it's because you have been vibrating on a certain frequency. Now we get the Ace of Stones and the Six of Swords. So the Ace of Stones is here because you've decided to switch gears and really start to invest in your financial stability and security. So where you may have been playing a game when it came to financials or not really focused on career, it looks like you really are hunkering down, and that realization came to you in the recent past. And it's almost after this energy of reconciliation, or this person, or even this scenario that's played out one too many times sort of showed up, and it's like, nope, I'm not doing that. I am not going to engage in that. I'm going to turn my behind around and go over here and buckle down on my studies, or buckle down on my business, or buckle down on my work. And that seems to be what you've done. So the Six of Swords is here because it says we've gotten out of the choppy water, and it is by focusing on tangible things. So like by focusing on money, creation of wealth or stability, or even education that will lead to a greater sense of wealth or stability. So if you are not clear that that was the right decision because maybe you aren't in a space where you've graduated yet, or that buckling down hasn't presented actual coins, I can assure you that that was the right choice based on this combination here. So here we are in the present. This is a reiteration of what I've just said with the Death card. This is like endings. Usually the Death card comes when you very clearly and cleanly cut off a situation, or you understand that that is what needs to happen. Death is also, people are afraid of it, but it nourishes the next cycle. So often death comes in when we really need to look at who, what, when, where, and why needs to be cut off and cut out of our lives in order to nourish the next part of our lives. So even if this is like a bad health habit or a bad friend or things that suck your time and energy, you really have to understand how they serve to deplete you, and to rob you of the ability to invest forward, right? So here we are, the Page of Spears. Now the Page of Spears here, if we look at it, is a one-eyed, one-armed, one-legged creature. But the Page of Spears is also someone who is doing the best they can. This page is hopping forth into battle despite not being fully equipped, and despite not having all of the abilities that someone with 2 arms or 2 legs or 2 eyes has. They are still really raring to go to get this battle done and serve the purpose that they can serve. But a page doesn't have a full offer here. So this tells me that we are in the beginning stages. Now, with the fire cards, it's all, with Wands energy, it also is an indicator of the flames of creation, or the spark of life, the spark of creation. Now the Empress isn't here, which would show that the ground is fertile for creation, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not in the budding stages of creation or mulling over ideas. And that's what it does look like here. It's like we're really kind of doing the mental backflips or mental gymnastics about what is our next opportunity. What do we want to create? How do we want to live and be perceived in our life? The Page of Swords is also here, so that means that there is going to be some communication, whether it be you writing down those thoughts, writing down affirmations, which I recommend. Actually, great work, affirmation work, out of the Tanya TKO book. If you don't know who she is, she has a sort of YouTube channel at Tanya TKO Live or at Tanya TKO Show on YouTube. She's also pretty prominent on Facebook, so go check that out if you don't know who she is. But you can also find her affirmation book on her website. It's a workbook. So this is like really talking about how we want to show up and exist in our life. That's part of what the book focuses on. But that's also what these cards are making us aware of, or making the collective aware of. How do we want to show up in our life? And really, like, how do we flesh that out? How do we write it down? Create an outline. Communicate it to others. This also is an indicator of really thinking a thing through, thinking an opportunity through, or thinking a creation through, and mapping out the next steps to take. So the Ace of Wands is here. This can mean a sexual encounter, but in terms of business and other things. So like this may mean like, man, you might be meeting somebody that really lights your fire. But in terms of business, what it means is that a new business opportunity, a new project, or a new creation is going to be presented to you fairly soon. Now, this is also a time indicator. It can be the time of the fire sign, which comes up in Aries, your sign. However, what this makes me feel like is that the business opportunity is going to present itself soon, and you will have to think very clearly about it, or the new opportunity, promotion, a move in a job that is up instead of a lateral movement. You will have to think about this and mull it over, and don't just jump at the opportunity. Even though it will be a good one, you are going to have to show up in a different way than you are used to. So that will give you, that will require a lot of thought and some planning. So the 10 of Cups is here, but because we are not reading for romantic partners, it means that you are filling up your own cups. And with the 10 of Cups, this can be an indicator of, this can be an indicator of family reconciliation or coming together, like family ties, things like that, or a happy home and family. But what I am feeling here is that this project, this thing that you are going to create, it actually gives you the same feeling or the same kind of warmth that a balanced family life would give someone. So it's like you can rest there. Now, I get the 7 of Wands here, which talks about defensiveness, and the Page of Cups. The defensiveness is about the emotional connection that you may have to this new project, or the need to be a little bit more emotionally mature when it comes to this project or this new creation. So you may be defensive because it's outside of the realm that you're used to. Like, let's say you are a school teacher and you decide to become a tarot reader, which is, just for example, or you're an engineer and decide to become a yoga teacher, or a yoga a yogi, and leave your job for that. This is kind of that energy where you're fiercely protecting this thing because it is so outside of your realm of expertise that it's almost like showing someone your art, that you're bearing your soul in this change and you don't want it to be scrutinized or looked down upon. So just be aware that that's a thing and that people in your life may decide to do that. So when that feels true for some people, it's best to move in silence. It's best to make these decisions after long consideration, but not needing to converse and sort of get others' opinions on what you should do about your life. Now, I know that's easier said than done, considering that you're sitting here listening to a tarot reading about what you should do about your life. But some people, when they're close to you, they have a personal stake in you remaining the person that you are, because then it allows them to keep you in the box that they've created for you. And it's like, it doesn't make their brain work harder to figure out who you are and what you're going to do. And the brain likes predictability. So when people start changing and switching up roles, for some people they can roll with it. And for some people it's very challenging because they like knowing or believing that they know how someone is going to act or react to a thing, right? Or what role that they can play in their life. We're going to get some clarifiers from the Doreen Virtue Angel Tarot. I haven't broke these out in a while. They just sit here in the box. If you've seen the last couple of readings. Oh, all right. We'll take them. All right. So it's funny because these clarifiers are, I don't normally use this deck. So these clarifiers are interesting because they totally flesh out the narrative that I've presented for you all. The life experience card talks about a significant life event that causes us to reevaluate our life and lead to change. It's time to spread your wings. And so that really is talking about this nostalgia that's come back in and forced us to stop repeating the same cycles over and over again, and instead to focus on something else. The moon is here, but in this case, the moon talks about having some intuitive insight or following your own intuition. Things are happening behind the scenes that you cannot see. In this case, I'm also getting the hit that, like, this last cycle where it was apparent to you that you needed to shift, that may have been orchestrated by your guides in order to offer you, it's like, okay, are you going to shift? Yes? Great, here's a new opportunity. And it's like right away. But without that shift, you know, you may have had some really challenging times ahead. So the next is the Three of Air. This is sadness about, and it does feel like sadness about whatever event that came back around that sort of made you feel nostalgic, because you may have wanted that. You may have wanted to re-engage, or letting go of that and putting it down really feels sad because it's like the ending of an era. You know, many times when we have these experiences and we put things down, and we really put them down because now we have to move on for our own sake and our own growth, and we really have to end. It's almost like an era. You understand that you're ending an era of toxic cycles, and that maybe the connection with people and family, like, they can't be brought into the new era because they're still so deeply in toxicity that they can't exist in the thing that you want to create. And that does make people mourn and feel very sad and have a broken heart. And that's what this Three of Air is talking about. The Four of Earth is here. The Chariot is here, and the King of Earth. The Four of Earth is here because it talks to us about being too frivolous or too cautious with money. Good business decisions and giving to those less fortunate. So this is what I'm literally what I've been saying. You know, focusing on your money, focusing on business, focusing on stabilizing yourself. The other thing is, if you are seeking a shift, it requires a level of investment, and money is a physical form of energy, whether you like it or not. It is a super strategy. It is a physical form of energy. And so when we invest in ourselves, that's literally us telling the universe that we want the universe to also invest in us. So holding on to money and being like, I need to save it because everything's falling apart. Yes, that's true. We do need to save and have a bit of a nest egg. But we also need to make space for investment in our own growth, because the universe will then anything that goes out will be given back and replaced, especially if it is a business investment, a solid one. I mean, don't get too wild. But if it's a solid, well-researched business investment, the universe will bring the money back to us. Or if it is investment in self-growth and self-love or self-care, the universe is willing to bring that back to us without a problem. This feels like it is asking for the thoughtfulness around our newfound passion for creation or creating this thing, right? The Chariot is here, which says that as soon as you step foot on the path, you will start moving very quickly. An important achievement through self-discipline and willpower. And it also talks about public recognition. So those of you who are seeking some kind of public recognition as an author, a creator, something like that, you are going to receive it. It's just a matter of continuing with the baby steps. Now, the King of Earth is here, and this talks about a successful time. And I mean, that is what I just said. Confidently accept opportunities you're offered. The Midas touch. So everything you touch right now will turn to gold, so to speak. But like I said, we have to sit down and create our affirmations, think over them clearly, and start walking in the right direction to create the things that we've asked for, right? The universe will return to us. If we put out 1/10 of the effort, the universe rises to meet us. The Six of Wands is here, the Six of Fire is here, and this is victory in the business opportunity that is being presented to us, the promotion or the new space of creation that is presented to us. Victory, good news is on its way. Public recognition and reward. So we got 2 public recognition cards out here, letting you know that should you start doing something that is going to put you in the limelight, it will actually put you in the limelight. It may require some effort and some work, especially it's, with the Chariot here talking about willpower, you may have to work on it for a little bit, but it is going to bear fruit. Renewal is here, and that's where we talked about this defensiveness coming in, because it's like that's going to be the time where we do have to look at ourselves too and decide whether or not are we still wanting this. Are we starting to repeat our toxic cycle? Do we need to be defensive? And it also talks about moving into this renewal is the renewal of self and moving into the positive space after this really hard letting go and mourning of things. The ego is here. That's a mindful, that's like a be mindful. When the ego is here, it's kind of like you don't have to wear a mask. You don't have to pretend, because you actually are stepping into self-actualization. So even though you're focused on material things, so this is like a catch-22, because you want to focus on material things. You need to grow financially, but I find that when we do things only for the sake of money and what kind of money it will bring, it never works out in our favor. So you have to do something that is for your passion, or that sparks that flame of creation, but also is starting to pay your bills in some way or bring in some form of money. The High Priestess is the outcome here, or the final thing. So this is like, again, listening to intuition. And I talked about moving in silence, because in this space, what I'm getting here is that people may not understand who you're turning into. So you've got to use a lot of your intuition to turn into that person. I'm going to pull 3 cards from the Angel Oracle deck, and then I'm going to finish out your reading. Thank you so much for stopping by, Aries. This is one of the other signs got the same thing. Vegetarian, vegan diet. The Goddess card is out. And Power Animal. Actually, I think the last group got something very, very similar here. So vegan, vegetarian, it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to go vegan or vegetarian, but it may ask you to evaluate how much meat you're consuming and whether or not you're getting a variety of nutrition points. So if you're not keen on going vegan or vegetarian, I would maybe try 1 or 2 meals a week that are more heavily vegetable based. I would also incorporate some kind of multivitamin or vitamin regimen, because this really talks about getting the full spectrum of nutrients, especially from fruits and veg. If you are keen to go vegetarian or vegan, then by all means, this is like, why don't you go ahead and do it? So just be mindful of that, because we do, you know, obviously the fresh fruit and veg has an energy component. Raw food has an energy component that we're not getting from cooked food or getting from processed vitamins and things like that. So be aware of that. And if you're really trying to get more in tune with your energy centers and your intuition, doing something like an elimination diet and then building from there, or doing something like ridding yourself of processed foods and meat for a week or 2, there's no harm in that. And it really can serve to get you quite clear. The Goddess is here. The Goddess talks about being in divine feminine, embracing magical intuition. Now you guys have gotten a heck of a lot of intuition cards here. Intuition, intuition, intuition everywhere. So, you know, like I said, move in silence again, but also trust your own intuition. And this is what this is asking for. The Goddess is also here, and not for a masculine or a feminine reason, but it asks during this time to really focus on self-nurturing and self-love, which the Tanya Tikio affirmation book totally does. So you may want to head over there and just give it a look-see, see what it's about. It doesn't necessarily have to be this thing where it's only if you're a woman are you allowed to be nurturing and self-loving. The other thing that we need to look at is the Goddess, or the feminine energy, is a rested or receptive state. So just being open to what presents itself and then be in a space of action, instead of being like, I gotta hustle it down, I gotta beat down these doors, and I've gotta, like, you know, like, it doesn't have to be that way. Slow down, take a deep breath, ask spirit, listen, receive, then act. You will find that the universe opens up for you when you do that. The next thing is Power Animal. Power Animal asks for you to connect more deeply with your totem. We all tend to have them. There are some meditations that you can do to get more acquainted. But it also says, like, hey, animal guides are here and they're giving you messages. You just have to be aware of them. If you want more information about that, you can read a book called Animal Speak. It's an excellent book, and there are plenty of like online options that give you information about animal totems and animal guides and animal messages. But it's kind of asking, you know, for you to be a little bit more connected with your power animal or your animal totem. So, thank you so much for stopping by, Aries. I hope you liked this. If you like it, give it a thumbs up. If you want more of this or more of the love readings or whatever else you want, hit that subscribe button. And we will be doing a giveaway once we hit 1,000. I chose 1,000 because you don't get a community tab to announce winners, which will be easier until you hit 1,000 subscribers. So at 1,000, we'll be giving away 2 20-minute readings to 2 of our subscribers that will be picked at random. I'd like to run giveaways like periodically, and some based on subscribers and some just based on how I feel, because you guys continue to stop by and you continue to subscribe and help this grow, and I totally appreciate it. So, like I said, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. That will enter you in a chance to win a free reading. And thank you so much, and take care.